So welcome to this Assistance Software webinar of June 2015. We have a couple of staff members also joining this webinar. James Thomas, our VP of Assistance Software US. James, maybe you can just introduce yourself for a moment.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. As Martijn mentioned, I do run the operations of Assistance Software in US and Canada. And I see many of you that have attended today, and I'm excited that Martijn is going to be presenting all of this new functionality. By all means, feel free to reach out to me if you need some additional questions clarified on the presentation, if you can get all the questions answered during this session. Thanks, Martijn.
And James, just to add on that, you are on our booth in Orlando with the financials booth as well?
Yes, so we will be at WPC in Orlando. We actually have two booths this time around, and I will be mainly in the financials booth during Worldwide Partner Conference.
Thanks, James. And for everybody that doesn't know the dates, it's I think July 12th when the WPC starts. We also have Bas. Bas, you will talk about Fast Track. Maybe you can introduce yourself as well.
Hello, good day, good morning everybody. My name is Bas van Woudenberg. I run the EMEA practice for Assistance Software, and many of you I've seen on our events and online sessions as well, and also the Convergence and WPCs we've attended. Thanks everybody for having time off your busy schedule to attend our session. And if there's any question for our EMEA partners, please feel free to reach out to me on the numbers known to you, so I can be of assistance to you at your like.
And guys, also Bas will be in Orlando at the WPC. So if you want to visit him and meet him face to face, you are welcome on our booth in Orlando. So for today, we have the following agenda. We will start with, of course, the PSA event Amsterdam. We are organizing a special professional service automation event here in Amsterdam at our headquarters. It's a great event. I will talk a little bit about it after this agenda. And then I will give Bas the opportunity to talk about the fast track methodology. We really try to help partners to implement PSA fast. And also seamlessly and be as productive as possible during the implementation of PSA, and to help you guys and to help partners and also end users to implement PSA fast, we have developed a fast track methodology that is for free and can be downloaded by everybody from our website. It will be published, the whole fast track package, this Friday in this week. And then of course we have the PSA Suite summer release coming out in this summer. Expected release time frame will be second week of July, so during the WPC. I will show you this PSA Suite summer release with some great new features. And also we'll talk about the new license structure we have. We have a PSA Lite version. It's a free version of PSA with advanced opportunity management, and what it's all about and how that works. I will guide you through that at 4:15. And then I will show you also financials. So financials is a full accounting solution. Basically, financials module 1 is an integration platform to integrate PSA with any financial backend. But you can also now do full accounting in Dynamics CRM. So financials is the first full accounting solution built on the Dynamics CRM platform, with, I must say, a great user interface, and I will show you just an overview of the capabilities of our financial solution. And then we will talk a little bit about the roadmap, and of course we have the opportunity for Q&A. Also after my last demo of financials, I will stay online for at least another 15 minutes. So if you want to chat with me or you have any questions for me, or for James or for Bas, just let us know, and then I'm more than happy to answer those questions. So let's start with the first agenda topic. We have a great event scheduled, PSA event in Amsterdam. For everybody that never been in Amsterdam, Amsterdam is a very historical city in the middle of Europe, and with beautiful canals. We have really a very nice program. We have specific workshops, how to sell PSA. We have industry speakers from Microsoft, but also other industry speakers on the event. We have a breakout session. Different breakout sessions with specialized sessions on scheduling and planning, financials, but also special sessions on the license structure, special sessions on some really nice features of the PSA solution. But especially we also want to have really a network event. So we invite everybody that's related to PSA. It can be of course people from Microsoft. It can be people like partners of us, premium partners, enterprise partners, but also end users. And it's a worldwide event, so we will invite everybody worldwide to come to Amsterdam. We will have a great kennel tour on the first day, so September 24, when we have done an intense day with a lot of session, a lot of knowledge sharing. We will have a great kennel tour. Everything is included, drinks and also food is included. And of course also the kennel tour is something you really don't want to miss. Have a kennel tour through the kennels of Amsterdam, where we have drinks and also food on the boats and going through Amsterdam. So if you are interested in registration, at this moment we have an early bird registration going on with a discount, I think, of $200 or so on the normal price. So you go to assistancesoftware.com/event, and then you can register for this great event that we will do in September in Amsterdam. And September is really a little bit in the Netherlands, the Indian summer of our country. So it's a beautiful, most cases, nice temperature, and just at the end of the summer, perfect time frame to visit the city. We do it on, I think by heart, on Thursday and Friday. So if you want to bring your spouse, you can have a great weekend also connected to our event in Amsterdam. So I want to give Bas the opportunity to talk a little bit about our fast track methodology. So I will make Bas the presenter at this moment, so he can share his screen to us. So Bas, I'm gonna just open your mic and I'm gonna make you presenter now.
All right, it looks good. I'm going to share my screen with you guys in a minute. Here we go. Great. Thanks, Martijn, for that introduction. Look forward to seeing you all at the event in Amsterdam, of course, in September. I'm going to talk a bit about our fast track methodology, and that's in response to the demand by our partners. And we have developed fast track methodology approach for Assistance PSA implementations. And I must say the underlying premise of the fast track approach is rapid cost and cost-effective implementation. So the objectives of a fast track implementation for the PSA suite is to go live with core functionality. With the core functionality, you have a rapid implementation, low-cost approach, and of course it leads to a user interface adoptional PSA suite for Microsoft Dynamics. So this is a fast-track implementation methodology, which I'm going to describe, and you will find it also as a full description in the document where you can have a read-through, and as Martijn already said, it will be published this Friday on our website. Now to implement Assistance PSA and using the fast-track methodology. It's designed based on best practices found in many professional services industries. But to be successful in implementing PSA, it's prerequisite to know about the verticals you're implementing and speak the language. So to do so, we like to guide you through that whole process using the PSA fast-track methodology. And the success factors of that are focus on the out-of-the-box functionality of Assistance PSA. It's a full-blown project management solution, so scope out every customizations and workflows in the first phase and go for the out-of-the-box functionality. Handle a phased approach, but with the focus on the first phase of that core functionality. And also one of the success factors we miss out on sometimes is to create a communication plan. Okay, and don't be the one telling everybody that they need to work with a new solution on Monday, but of course share that in that team. And the success factors also extend to the part where we recommend the team structure. The recommended team structure is looking at multiple roles for that team structure. and have these roles included as key users that are trained on core functionality so that they can make the right decisions as they go and implement PSA. Now, what about the solution functionality and what is the core functionality of Assistance PSA? The core functionality of Assistance PSA is what we see changing in colors here. So the red, purple, bluish, and the orange and the pink squares represent the functionality which is Assistance PSA. So the blue functionality we leave out of the first scope, the first phase. So accounts and contacts and projects and also project budgeting and time and expenses connected to employees. That's what you need to set up in the first phase. That will create an invoice. Standard process for Assistance PSA. Now about fast track on-site phasing, we will see 4 phases right here. So we talk about the prerequisite, we have the fast lane, we have the transition and the go live. Now when we talk about the prerequisite, we will see in the first square that the prerequisite is the whole planning and setup of your implementation structure together with your client. Of course, you will train key users as said in the recommended team structure and have them made in the decisions and train them on the core functionality of Assistance PSA. After that prerequisite, you will step into the fast lane implementation with your settings and blueprint. Now the settings and blueprint will define all the basics of Assistance PSA. And when we have set up the settings and blueprint, we can go to the core functionality of Assistance PSA. The implementation of the reddish and pinkish squares I just showed you in the previous slide. So accounts, contacts and project budgeting, hours, expenses and invoicing and employees. So also Assistance PSA will allow you to integrate your financial transaction to your ERP system. Now, of course, this is an important step to see if you want to integrate that with the basic of PSA financials, or use the solution as an integration platform, as a gateway to your financial ERP system and integrate it with any solution that's available. Now, also, when we have created and set up all that, you will have a proof of concept stage. So in that proof of concept stage, you will then show the solution built on the specific processes for the client and test that. So test what everything you have set up previously on the proof of concept. And if that proof of concept is to be approved, we go to the transition phase. And the transition phase includes a project management workshop. The project management workshop will allow you to, after the approval of the proof of concept, to set up your environment with the static data. Static data contains all kinds of project information that you need to punch in to the system to have a setup before you get to your financial history editing. Now the project management workshop will allow the project managers to set up their own projects and also in that scope by learning by doing have managed their own project and the setup of that. Now when adding financial history data to a project, you will of course need to have that done by a financial department. So financial data to a project is a very important step to take. Now you will get all your history details on your project history, hours history, expenses. Now after that approval, you can perform the end user training. So the end user training is very important because before the rollout of all that actual hour and expense entry, you will train the users on how to edit that data. After that's done, you can go into transition. You can go into the transition phase before you go live, and after go live, you will have post-implementation support. So a 4-phase structure with multiple steps included will allow you to implement Assistance PSA using the fast track methodology structure. And that fast track methodology structure is not only tied to organizations that are small or medium sized, we even perform this with enterprise organizations. So a fast track implementation methodology is there for you to support our partners as well as our clients on a fixed set implementation structure based on our knowledge of the professional service industry.
And Bas, if I understand well, sorry to interrupt, but there is also a whole project plan already created here with all the activities and expected time from our experience.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I want to show you that in a minute. I want to first focus on the couple of milestones you have to keep in sight while doing and performing and going through all these phases. So key training for the users, please perform certification. We offer a very good certification program with a certification module on our website. You will receive a very nice certification after you pass your exam. But it's also good to incorporate that in your fast track package, that people get the knowledge that they're certified for the solution. Also notes on the financial integration, very important part. Have an approval on your proof of concept, but also an approval on the financial history editing. And don't forget about the core reports, like invoice reports and all kinds of reports where you need to go live. Now, Martijn already said something about the resources we have available from this Friday on Fire website. So this presentation will be available on there as well. You can use that for presentation with your client. Also, a whole set of resources is available from the fast track implementation methodology. The resources available, you will see right here, we have a fast track summary worksheet. It will allow you to notify about all the decisions made in the implementation. Also a progress worksheet. What have you done? What are your agreements you've made? On which date they are set? Also a preparation sheet to convert projects. You come from a legacy solution and you want to prepare that to migrate to your PSA solution. How does that work? What do you need to fill in? It's all there. Also, historical data. How do you use historical data conversion to PSA? Very important element of that. As said, we also offer a template. A template you can use and you can import it in your PSA solution, and you can build your own quote from that, your own work, your whole project plan, you can set it up. Next to that, I will show you that in a minute because I have that available for you. Also the quick reference guide for a workshop. So the project management workshop, we have a template for you that you can just fill out for your organization yourself with your own little details, but we have a quick reference guide for a workshop presented for you. Also for your testing procedure, we provide you with a couple of swimming lane documents. The swimming lane documents will support the testing and see in which swimming lane you can support which functionality. Just to give you a bit of a view around the Gantt chart before I close this off, I'm going to switch to my PSA environment. Here you go. I've created a fast track project, and this is what you can use for your own internal usage and share with your client, because you can create a PDF or PNG from that, and you can just import it in your PSA, only connect the hour types, update the budget, create a forecast, and you're done. So use all the resources available from this Friday from our website. If there's anything you would like to know more about the fast track methodology and want to discuss that personally, please reach out to us and we can help you out with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bas.
If there's any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Bas. Thank you very much for this clear presentation on the fast track methodology. I will just get back my presenter rights. So just show my screen. So everybody will see my screen again. So Bas, you can see my screen just to check.
Oh yes, I can.
Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, fine. What we will do, by the way, we will have more fast track workshops. Marieke, she's not attending today, but she could not be here at this moment. But Marieke Ubels, she basically is the leader of this program, and she will organize multiple webinars for fast track, the fast track methodology, where it can also be more interaction and discussion with partners, but also with end users, how to implement PSA fast and do a rapid implementation, have a quick win, so people can be live with the core functionality as soon as possible. So now the summer release of PSA. So what we have done in the summer release and the launch data, we'll talk about it a little bit later when we talk about the roadmap. But basically, there will be a new license structure of PSA. There will be a free version of PSA. We call that PSA Lite. I will talk about that in a moment. We have done on the equipment side a lot of stuff as well. We're leveraging the standard equipment of CRM, and we have now equipment rates, but also you can incorporate your equipment in your Gantt chart planning. We have also an improved budget grid, where you will see that the user interface is much better now, and instead of having multiple columns for different resources in your budget, you have now one column. We have a new feature that's really an overall Gantt chart. So you see a Gantt chart by resource. So it's either time frame, resource by resource. Improved sales forecasting. And what's really new, and a lot of people were waiting for this functionality, is that we have advanced opportunity management. So advanced opportunity management for us is that you can now do sales forecasting, budgeting, setting up hourly rates, all on the standard opportunity of Dynamics CRM. So if you have just a standard opportunity in Dynamics CRM, you can now use our sales forecast grid, our budget grid, and set up hourly rates. And of course, when you go to your overall opportunity, overall sales forecasts, where you see your revenue forecasted per month, you can include there not only your project forecasted revenue, but also your opportunity forecasted revenue. And last but not least, when you close an opportunity or you create from an opportunity a project, it will inherit the hourly rates, your budget grid with all the budget lines, and of course your sales forecast to the project. So this is really great new functionality, and that's available in this summer release as well. Then we have a resource sheet where you can basically see utilized and used resources, but you can also use the resource sheet to basically enter or correct time entries, equipment entries, and expense entries in one sheet. We have some status reports. It's an HTML5 component. For staffing companies, we have also the capability to have an end date on a specific hourly rate for a specific project. So if a specific hourly rate ends, let's say the first 2 months, you have a consultant on a project for a much cheaper hourly rate than later when he's more experienced, then you can set it up. Collection management is one of the options in PSA now that will generate automatically reminders, first, second reminder, maybe last reminder based on email templates for your invoices, for your accounts receivable invoices. Then the summer release update number 1 that will be just out after the WPC, that will then basically incorporate batch invoicing in new code, HTML5 and project invoicing. Email functionality was always already available for on-premise, but will also now be available for CRM Online. And there will be a revenue recognition module where you can recognize revenue project by project. And that means that you have a history on the recognized revenue by project. So what I like to do for now is to, before we continue with the features of financials, I want to show you some of those features in my demo environment. What I did not tell you, of course, we also redesigned the whole menu structure of PSA. So here we are in one of the most recent CRM 2015 environments. And when you look at the menu structure, we see now HR, PSA, and financials, where here in financials, you have your complete financial package with full accounting. Of course, you can still use financials as your integration platform to any financial backend. I will talk about it in a moment. And then here we have PSA, and here we have HR. So when we talk about the PSA suite, we always talk about those 3 components, and really depending on the license you have. And when I talk about the roadmap, I will talk also about the new license structure that gives you access to parts of that whole suite. Now let's have a look at the new PSA menu structure. We see nice groups now. We have my work, customers, programs and projects, resources, planning and forecast, hours and expenses. So it's very clear for the user what you can do here. Of course, here you will just find your dashboards, mainly PSA dashboards. You have your accounts and contacts, and here you have your program and projects. But if you install the latest version of PSA, we extend standard CRM with advanced opportunity management, as we call it. So that means if you go to the sales module and you go to a standard opportunity of CRM, you can now basically add to an opportunity, you can add hourly rates. So I here have just a standard CRM opportunity, but we just added some fields, which legal entity this opportunity belongs to. So if you look at your sales forecast, you are filtering on legal entity. So that's what we see here. Another thing that we have done here on the opportunity is that we can set up hourly rates. So we can set up specific hourly rates that are only applicable for this specific opportunity, and that works for people that know PSA. That's the same structure as PSA, same rate structure that you can use. For this opportunity, I need a business analyst, and this business analyst will have a selling rate of 195. And here you see also the end date. So you can put end dates on rates, and you can set up multiple rates with different end dates. So here we have, in this case, for this, I'm not in a project, I'm just in the opportunity. I've set up a specific rate for the BI consultant of the business analyst, sorry, of 195. So here you have now that estimated revenue. You can still put in an estimated revenue as you do in an opportunity with an estimated closing date. But you know, and I know, as a services company where you sell hours, people, and services, that the revenue that you forecast, if it are not products, if it is in this case not licenses, the revenue that you forecast is never invoiced on the closing date, right? Because let's say I expect 170, a contract of 170K on July the 1st, but I will invoice maybe 25K per month because it's a time and material invoice scheme or time and material project that will come out of this. Then this value will never be invoiced on July the 1st. So to manage that, we have now added to the opportunity a standard opportunity solution is the forecast module. So here you can then create a forecast. You can create it in hours. So that means you can just put this on quantity and you can put in hours. So I can just put in here a line and I can say, okay, I need that business analyst, and I expect that business analyst will spend, let's say, 20 hours in July and another 20 hours in August. I can key this in. It's just the way you like to do it, or you can just use those arrows and another 100 hours here. So that's what I can do, as you can see here. As soon as I transfer this forecast to money, it will calculate with the hourly rates that I've set up on this specific opportunity. So now we see that this business analyst will then basically have a forecast of $3,900 and here $19,500 based on the hours times the rate of the business analyst. I can also key in just the value. So I can just key in, I expect a consultant to have a revenue of $2,500 and another $5,500 in December. And all this together, so this $206,000 will then be updated to my estimated revenue right here. So just when I just refresh this opportunity screen to give it a refresh, we will see that if I'm closing a pending email, we will see that my estimated revenue is now updated to 206 based on my latest sales forecast. And this sales forecast will also appear, of course, in my overall sales forecast. So when you go to PSA, and we go to your planning and forecast module here, to your group here, and you see here forecast, then now I have the capability to select a specific legal entity and select, in this case, my forecast in money. And then I can look at all my forecasted money, so project forecast and opportunity forecast, or I can only look at opportunities. So that's really up to you. And then you see here basically everything that is forecasted. So now we incorporate that opportunity completely in the forecasting, overall forecasting of PSA when you forecast your opportunities with this PSA forecast component. Another thing what you can do is not only set up hourly rates, but also set up a budget grid on the forecast. And the budget grid looks exactly the same as the budget grid on the project. We changed it a little bit, tweaked it a little bit, so it's a little bit more intuitive. So when I go to this project Cyber Intelligence, we see here, of course, the new budget grid. And when I click here on the budget grid, we see here everything that we have calculated for this specific project Cyber Intelligence. Instead of having different columns for equipment and fees and products, we just now will basically look at the item. If the item is a time and material item, you will see resources, in this case people. You can budget a person, and then you can select a specific hour type to that. So that's what you do here. If it's in this case equipment, you can select one of the equipment types that we support, or one of the expense types that we support. So that can be equipment, it can be a fee, in this case a daily allowance that you can budget, or it can be a product from a price list. So that's all what you see here in the budget grid. Just put in the number of hours in this case, and then PSA will update your calculation here, and will update, in this case, the total budget value of the project as well. So that's what we see here. Of course, when you close an opportunity, then automatically your forecast and your budget and your hourly rates will be inherited to the project. The whole advanced opportunity management capabilities are for free. We call that the Lite license. And also a basic project, and that's a project without a work breakdown structure, is in that package, in that free package. And time entry and expense entry is in there as well, but it will not calculate any hourly rates to the project. So you can do basic time entry, but you will see time spent on a project, but you cannot calculate. Basically, it will not pick up the rate table if you have the free version of PSA called PSA Lite. So that's something that I will also talk a little bit more about when we talk about the license structure. The new license structure will come out in July of this year. When we look at the project, what we can do now as well, going to a next subject. So we talked about opportunity management, advanced opportunity management, where you can now incorporate hourly rates on an opportunity budgeting and sales forecast, and that will then be incorporated in the overall sales forecast. Another thing what we have done is that we created a second form. It's called General 2. And if you have a company, or you are a company that works also with equipment and fees a lot, then you can not only add team members and hourly rates to a project, but also you can add, and you see here now, by the way, that date, the date that with the end date, that will give you the capability to basically put an end date on a rate. So if you start, for example, with a discount, you can put in that end date for 2 months, and then the next after that discount date, then the rate will go back to normal. So that's what we see here as well. Another thing what we have now is also associated hour types, and associated hour types will give you the capability to protect your project, that not people with multiple hour types book that hour type on your project. So let's say Jan can normally book at development and consultancy, but at this project are limited to consultant. That means that Jan can only book as a consultant. So that is that associated hour type that we see here. Very useful for people that want to have more control on their project. When we scroll a little bit down, and what is really nice, of course, of CRM 2015 is that you don't have to scroll anymore, but you can just skip here to, this case, team and rates. And in this case, I'm going to skip to equipment and fees. So this is something that will be a part of your General 2 form. So if you don't use equipment or fees, then basically stay at general, the general form. But if you want to use equipment and fees, you can use this form, or you can put your equipment forms on your first form. It's up to you. So here we have basically a couple of equipment, and this is standard CRM equipment. So this is just coming from the equipment entity of CRM. But with PSA, you can set up equipment types, compare it a little bit with our types. And you can set up also rates, selling and cost and internal for equipment. Just a little sip of water. You can set it up by project, or you can have a general rate table. So in this case, for the sub base, the equipment is $100. You can have an hourly rate, or you can have a daily rate. So I can select equipment, in this case, vessel Amsterdam. I can say when this vessel is in operation. This is a real life example for, in this case, for Fugro. I can say the day rate is, for example, 12K. And now this specific equipment is set up with a specific rate for this project. And of course, you can book this equipment on the project as well. So when you look at what you can all on resources can book on a project, you have, of course, employees with hours, you can have products for your licenses, but also now you can have equipment. You can not only see that equipment and book your actuals of that equipment on your project, but you can also schedule that equipment. Next to equipment, we have fees. That's used as basically a standard expense item. For example, a daily allowance. Every time I go to a client, I can basically bill 145 for a daily allowance. It's up to you how you're going to use this, but this is not really a product, but it's really something you will use only on this specific project. So let's say I have always something I do for the client, and we call it expense. And in this case, it's a backup service, and our selling rate is 750. Now, every time I do a backup for this client, just an example, I can basically use this 750 times the number of backups I did. So that's another resource that you can put on a project as well. When we look at the Gantt chart, going here to the left, Gantt chart, then we will see here basically our Gantt chart with our resources, but also now we see here, we scroll a little bit down, my equipment, different color, so you can distinguish it from your human resources. So here we see equipment that is scheduled on this specific project. Now, the Gantt chart on the project will show you always, of course, the Gantt chart from a project perspective. So what are the activities on the project? When this changes, the rest changes, etc. So this is really from a project perspective, but I can also now see the Gantt chart overall. So when you go to the main menu of PSA and you go here to the planning and forecast module and you go to Gantt chart, you'll see an overall Gantt chart with multiple filter options. So I have a legal entity or department. I can select a specific project type or specific project status. I can select a specific resource type, so I can look at only my employees, for example, refresh here. And then I see here at the left, I see all my people, and I see basically how they are scheduled from a timeline perspective. So when I look at myself, see I have here, I'm red because I spent some more time than expected on this specific activity. And here I can see the different activities that in this case Jan is doing. So he's working on a cyber intelligence project, doing a solution design. He does some pre-testing here, and then here he's working setup and config. But here you see the overall project. So when you look at my name here, you see that I'm doing a solution design for this project, and I'm doing for another project called cyber intelligence. I'm doing another activity. I make a high-level design document. Another thing what you can include in here is equipment. So you can look at equipment as well. And here you see that vessel Amsterdam. That's that piece of equipment. It's a boat, and it's in this case it's on transfer, and then it goes in operation for this period of time. Also here you can change your Gantt chart for equipment, and then you can save those changes here right in the right upper corner. You can save those changes, or you can look at everything that is scheduled for a specific business unit, legal entity or department, and then you refresh basically everything. So that's also an option that you have. So if you just, by default it's on all, and just hit refresh here, you see everything that is everything that's scheduled, and of course you can then collapse it or extend it. So that's what we see here. Now this is the first. This is basically the most important features of the PSA summer release. There's a big list of minor changes, but also to respect our time frame. I wanna leave it here. Of course, if there are any questions at this moment, please put your questions in the chat box, and I will come back to that as soon as possible. And of course, everything, you will see more filtering options and more minor features, but the most important features is the new license structure, the overall Gantt chart, the whole equipment piece, the advanced opportunity management, and of course the whole integration with also the financials part that I will show you now. I see there are some questions coming in. If I supply a Lite license, it's a question from Luc Josias. If I supply a Lite license to a user, he is not able to see the forecast. We have a problem that our consultants can see hourly rates with the current license setup. Yeah, there is a full license matrix where you can see what people can see or cannot see. And as a Lite user, you can also see the overall sales forecast. There is a financial scope setting in this new version where you can basically determine if people can also see the financial data. So that's something that's a part of this summer release. So if people can see only hours, Luc, or people can see basically also the financial data. But what you can exactly do with the Lite license and an essential and basic license, I will show you that in a moment in the roadmap. If it's an answer to your question, Luc, please let me know so I can delete your question. Then there's another question from Erik Tweebeke. Can I change an item to other employees? Yes, you can use the to be scheduled option here to do that. I will show you that offline when we have time, or Bas can show you that, Erik. Or you can assign with the right mouse click, you can assign an activity to another employee. So that's definitely an option. And the drag and drop is really with the to be scheduled. Then there's the question, a very good question from Luc. Is the new overall Gantt chart overview a future replacement for the utilization? Now, definitely not, Luc. There's a big difference to those with those two. When you look at the utilization sheet, we really show utilized hours, and we are color coding that, as you know, and that will then make basically, it will show you everything in hours. What's also a new feature of the utilization sheet that was already in the 2011 version, but it will come back, is that we can also retrieve not only the hours that are utilized of people, but also based on the project item activities, but also we will show the hours that are scheduled as appointments. So we can also include appointments in this utilization sheet, while the Gantt chart is really showing the time frame of people and doesn't really show the number of hours there. So of course, it's the same database. We don't save. We look at the same data, but at our two different views that you have. So the overall Gantt chart will give you an impression if activities are overlapping, if that's acceptable or not acceptable. It depends, of course, on your own scheduling, and the utilization will really give you an overview of the utilization and the utilized hours per resource. So Luc, if that's an answer to your question, please let me know. So there's a question of Wout Anninkhoff, and basically he's asking, so I don't need MS Project anymore when all this functionality is in here, and that's definitely correct, Wout. So with PSA, with the activities that you can schedule, with also the equipment now that you can schedule, yeah, we don't see a lot of need for MS Project. This being said, if you have very complex constructional and building projects, then of course PSA is really focusing on human resources and different scenario plannings, etc. That is maybe another story. But if we look at for example, engineering firm like Fucro, they will schedule their equipment, they will schedule their people, and that will then basically feed their sales forecast. That will give an impression of their backlog and of their future revenue, and they can also generate their budget from there. So that's really how it's designed. So so that's absolutely true, Wout. So good question there. And then there's a very good question from Murali. Can the completion based in the Gantt chart be based on booked hours versus budgeted hours? Yeah, that's already happening at this moment. So if you go to a project, maybe you are not aware of that, but if you go to a project and you look at an item of the project, we calculate what the completion should be. So when you look at this project in this case, and we scroll down, we see here percentage completed calculated. In this case, I don't have it here because nothing is approved. So this is already happening, and that's then based on the budget. So we have every time in a PSA project, we have a calculated completion and a completion that you think your activity is completed from a project perspective, from a project manager perspective. So those two fields are here. So the calculated completion that you see here is basically locked because it's calculated by the system based on your budget and spent hours. And the percentage of completion is something that you can put in yourself. So that's already happening, Murali. Thank you for your question. A question from Mac. Siet, does PSA automatically send tasks when it's assigned to a resource? Answer is automatically is a big word, but we leverage the workflow of Dynamics CRM. So you can use that, or you can look at the Gantt, or you can look at the utilization sheet. And that means that if you look at the utilization sheet, then you can only look at one specific resource, and that will also have to do with the financial scope. For now, I'm going to leave it for the questions. I'm going to move forward to our next overview demo, and that's financials. And for everybody that not really knows Assistance Software, we are this year 25 years in business. We're developing financial solutions for more than 20 years. So we have a big install base with a full accounting solution. It's called Assistance Financial Management. And it's a C# solution. It's a part of Assistance PSO, one of our legacy solutions that we still have a lot of users on. And with all this knowledge and with the developer team that's responsible for financial management, we have designed a financial solution for Dynamics CRM. So this is really the full financials solution, full accounting solution built on the Dynamics CRM platform. And we are targeting, basically, we don't want to compete with ERP solutions like AX or NFV. We're trying to compete, and we will compete, and we see also a lot of good feedback already with basically financial management solutions like a QuickBooks or an Exact Online that is used by basically SMB, small medium business. And those kind of companies, if they have already CRM, they need to make all kinds of integrations to maybe QuickBooks or Exact Online or other solutions, and you don't have everything in one solution. And we thought that's really not something we wanna present to our installed base, because we have a big installed base that are using our current financial solution. So we need to have for them also an option. But financials can be a part of the whole PSA suite in the license structure, but it can also be sold separately. So if you look at the concept of financials, basically we use accounts, and there you have a setting. It's a customer or a vendor. It can be both, so you don't have to create two accounts for a customer and a vendor if that's the case. And then you can basically do accounts receivable, accounts payable. You can do your bank documents. You can do your cash documents. There's aging analysis. There's e-banking. You can put in, of course, different journal entries, and there are all kinds of financial statements and financial reports via our inquiry screen, where you can find your balance sheet, your P&L. So everything is in there, and everything is in CRM. So what I like to show you today is just an overview demo of those functionalities very quickly that everybody can understand. So we get an invoice, And let's say the invoice is from a subcontractor and it generates expenses on a project, right? So what I can do now, I can basically create that invoice. It's an accounts payable document. And I can then basically connect that invoice directly to a project, and then on the project I can of course see that as an expense, and then when I invoice the expense, it comes back to my accounts, to my revenue side of the P&L. Another thing what I like to show you is we have an integration with all kind of banks, so you can import e-banking files, and it will match automatically your bank statement with your outstanding AP and AR documents. And then last but not least, we will show you some financial reports and some aging analysis and some P&Ls. So let's start with that overview demo. So I'm going now to the financials package of PSA Suite. So we're going here to financials. And when we look at financials, we have a very clear menu structure. We have our GL, where you can find your chart of accounts, your journal entries. We have our AP section, where you have your accounts payable with your vendors, your voucher entry, aging reports. You have your AR, your accounts receivable. And of course, if you create your invoices through the PSA package, then your invoices are generated automatically from PSA, and you will find them here. We have our banking section, where you can find your bank accounts and your transactions and some settings. So if you install the PSA Suite, you've basically the professional license, where you have the financial integration platform. But if you have now the enterprise license of the PSA Suite, you will get also this full accounting solution. So basically, if you have a professional license, you have your integration platform, so you don't have AP, no AR, no banking, but you will have your general ledgers with your journal entries. And if you have the full-blown financial solution installed, then you can do full accounting, and then you have AP, AR, and banking as a part of your solution. So here we find our chart of accounts with all our GLs. I can just open any account, and then I can see also, and that's really nice, I can see also all the journal entries there. So let's say I open an account payable here, then I can see here also I can see all the journal entries there. Here we see that directly here that we have entered on that specific account, in this case 2000 accounts payable. Another thing what we have here, we have inquiry screen, so we can run a report. But before I do that, I want to just enter an accounts payable voucher. So I can go here, and we use, as you see, the beautiful CRM user interface with the business processes here. I can also just create here an invoice 2015-001. I can put in a currency. It's multi-currency, multi-company. You can select a specific vendor. City Power, I put in a description. Now let's say webinar expenses. 1250, and then here we can have multiple approvers. In this case, I'm going to approve it directly myself. But you can have a workflow there with multiple approvers. And here we have then our grid, and this grid really works very well. I can just put in here expenses, or I can put in this case software expenses, enter. And then put my, so that's my account here, and I can say, okay, let's say 1000 expenses here. I can put in my tax, but now I can also select my project. So I can here select my project, let's say cyber intelligence, or any other project. I can search on everything. I can just put in a number, or I can put in a word. That's really up to me. So let's say I'm looking for that cyber intelligence project, and just put in cyber intelligence. And now I'm booking this specific expense directly to a project with maybe a markup of 20%. So charged amount will be 1200 to the project. So it's now directly connected to the project. I can of course put in another line. You can use the whole keyboard here, and I can put here in, let's say, add some hardware expenses there as well, and I put in 210. So when I hit save at this moment, it will check if my totals will match. If that's not the case, I cannot save it. So it's very hard to make any mistake here. And in this case, I'm going to put in 250, and I hit save. Now the voucher is created. I'm just gonna select this account again. And basically now it needs to be posted. So, but what we're leveraging here is standard CRM functionality. So here, when I scroll down, for example, we have e-notes, so we can track an email, or we can add a task here, or we can put in, for example, we can put in an attachment here. So I can say, okay, I want to attach a record here from my desktop, and that's basically the invoice, right? So I can attach that right here. So all that standard CRM functionality is available directly here. Also, of course, when I go to in this case City Power, now I'm in standard CRM, and here when I go to my voucher entries, we see here the voucher I just created, webinar expenses, and from here I can directly go to financials. So there is no difference anymore there. I can also go to that project, cyber intelligence. So let's say the project manager is here in PSA, and he or she goes to the project cyber intelligence. Now, when I will go here to cyber intelligence, we will see here all the financial entries here, and here we see those expenses that are just basically connected to this project. So everything is related and connected, and of course from the project I can see all my financial transactions that are related to this specific project, including those revenues and those expenses. As everything is basically now in one solution. Back to financials, when you enter an accounts payable voucher, we still need to post it. So I'm just going to hit post, and now basically the journal entry is created. So now the post is done. And we can find in our general ledger here in journal entries that was called in the previous version transactions, we can find here basically the whole journal entry that is generated for City Power and Lite with those 1,250 and then here the 1,250 on the accounts payable account. When I go to the inquiry screen, we can see here directly my P&L. Here we see the P&L, we see hardware expenses here. I can do double click. I see here all the hardware expenses. Here we see the invoice I just created, the invoice 2015-001. We have all kind of chart capabilities here where you can see the different charts and different expenses by in this case by ledger, by account. We can generate a balance sheet. So we have standard and balance report. Everything is of course connected and can be exported to Excel. So this is a balance sheet, but also we can have an overview of all my ledgers, where we can see basically all the different entries by ledger, accounts payable. In this case, we see all the different ledgers here. So that's also what we can do. Here. So that's all in the inquiry screen. So let's say I downloaded my bank statement. Then I set up our bank account. So I've here set up some bank accounts like Citibank. And when I'm starting downloading my bank statement, I put it somewhere on my hard drive. I can import it maybe directly. I create a new entry, new transaction, and at this moment, because I've downloaded my bank statement, I can here click on this button, import file. We are supporting basically all the European banks, the US and Canadian banks for the different file formats. You can just export your bank statement from your e-banking solution and then import it here in your financials, and then it will do matching. So when it recognizes an accounts payable entry, in this case an AT&T bill, it matches it and gives it a little green alert. So it's matched, it's booked, and those other amounts, apparently you cannot find any outstanding invoices on those. Then I need to, of course, solve the problem myself by selecting the right ledger and then accept the whole bank statement. So that is all a part of the financials of the financial solution. When you start invoicing, of course, with PSA, that everybody does, those invoices will end up here in your invoices in accounts receivable. But also here we have created an aging report. So here directly you see basically the aging of your different invoices in different columns. We have that on the AR side, but also on the AP side. So you only go to AP, we have that also here. To do payments of your accounts payable, we have also e-banking that will generate an e-banking file that you can upload to your bank to do your payments as well. So this is a basic but very complete financial package that is multi-company, multi-currency, fully integrated with the PSA suite, but can also be sold as a standalone solution. So that's also an option that you have. This being said, let's go to the roadmap and license structure. I'm just starting my my PowerPoint again. Financials will come out this summer at the WPC. We have at the WPC 2 booths. We have a booth for financials and we have a booth for the PSA suite. And financials can be, as I told you before, be purchased as a separate financial solution. So if people just use CRM and they want to have a financial solution based on the CRM platform, instead of switching all the time, they can just use the financial solution. The first financial solution that will come out will be a part of the PSA suite, and will be launched together with the summer release. So when we look at the summer release of the PSA suite, financials is a part of that. Lite is a part of that. So how that all works is something I'm going to tell you in a moment when we talk about the license structure. So looking at the time frames that we have now, in July, we are launching financials, PSA Lite, and the PSA Suite summer release. And when you download the PSA Suite, Lite and financials is more or less a part of that whole suite. And depending on your license, you will have access to those different functional packages. Then we have scheduled for 2015 in Q3 a service update for the summer release number 1 and a service update for the summer release number 2. This specific roadmap and this presentation, I put it in the handout so you can download the PDF with your in your GoToMeeting panel. You'll find a little option handout, and there you find this handout, so you can look at all the functionality from that standpoint. Now, new license structure will be valid in July 2015, so in a month. We will sell, basically, we have 2 extra license types. We have at the left side of the spectrum, we have Lite, and at the right side of the spectrum, we have Enterprise. So the Lite version of the PSA suite is for free. So you can use the Lite version for advanced opportunity management. So that means you can do sales forecasting, budgeting, and hourly rates on your opportunity. You can do basic project management. So you can create a project as a Lite user for free. But it will not have a WBS. It will not have a work breakdown structure. You will just have 2 items, services and expenses. That's it, that's all. You can do basic forecasting and budgeting on your project, and you can do time and expense entry. But there is a but, a very big but. When you do time and expense entry on a project, it will not look up the hourly rates. So you will just see the number of hours on the basic project. That's the Lite version of the PSA suite. For free, you basically download it. You can request a Lite license key for the number of users of your choice. We will provide you the license key for Lite, and you will have limitations in the PSA suite. If you want to have advanced time and expense entry with the full-blown business logic of picking up the rate, looking at the end date, etc., then you need at least an essential license. So an essential license will basically give you the real time and expense entry with really picking up the rates from our rate tables. If you look at the basic license, that's really for the project manager. Everybody that needs to do a project, needs to do resource planning, needs to create a Gantt chart, needs to look at the full forecasting, needs to have a basic license. Also, the whole project accounting part is in the basic license. Invoicing is in the basic license. Then when you look at the professional license, we're talking about HR functionality and financial integration platform. So it's not full accounting, but it's just the journal entries to integrate with any other financial backend. Then if you want to have the enterprise license, then you will get a specific revenue recognition module that you can do recognition of revenue project by project, but also the full financial with the full accounting. This is what I just showed you. And you can mix all those license types. For partners, starting in July, margins and stuff that we agreed on will stay exactly the same. So if people like already in the Salesforce automation of CRM, the opportunity, they're implementing opportunities, they're implementing leads, etc., but they want to have full use of advanced opportunity management, they can then use the Lite version of PSA. We'll come out with a big press release this week, and you can find a very detailed license matrix on assistancesoftware.com/licenses. So in code there, you find a very detailed license matrix. And also when you are in the process of answering an RFI, you can really leverage that. You can use that because everything in detail is described. And in detail, you will see what is in which version. This is basically an overview of the functionalities to make it more readable. But if you want to see the full package, it's I think 8 or 10 pages of functionalities. Go to assistancesoftware.com/licenses. And there you find all the different details of the different functionalities per license. So what's new? Lite, new version, free version, can do advanced opportunity management, basic project management and time entry. Essentials, advanced time entry with picking up the rates. Basic for the Gantt chart, for the utilization sheet, for the forecasting, really tailored and designed for a PM or for a resource manager. Professional, everybody that needs to do more on the financial and HR side, and enterprise if you want to do full financial accounting. So that is basically the new license structure. Now we are ahead of schedule. That's always good because everybody is busy. We still have a lot of people in our session. So, and there's a lot of questions coming in. So I will have a look at all the questions that I have here. So let's have. So if you have any questions, please put your questions in the question box. So I'm reading through the questions. There are a lot of questions, so I need to I need to have some time to read through it. Before I'm starting with the Q&A and really go through all the questions for the people that don't have questions. I want to thank you so much for your attendance. We had almost 100 people watching this webinar, so that was really great. We have some survey questions. So after you leaving the webinar, you will get a question from us with a couple of questions. If you want to come to Amsterdam, we want to love to see you here in Amsterdam and go through the kennels and have a beer and network with you guys and everybody meet everybody face to face. Of course, we are also in Orlando, but the PSA event is really great. So if you want to come, please join us in Amsterdam. So there's some questions there. For financials, we're looking for launching partners. You can imagine if you want to implement financials, it would be nice if you have a financial background as a partner. Also as an end user, if you want to be an early adopter, let us know. So if you leave this webinar, you will get some of those questions and your response is highly appreciated. So I want to thank you all for your attendee on this specific webinar. I want to wish you a great morning or a great day or a great evening. Thank you so much. And for the people with questions, please stay online and I will now go through all those questions. Thank you so much. So there is a question from Steve Hale. Does financials integrate with QuickBooks? There is a third party, Steve, that integrates standard CRM with QuickBooks. And I know clients and end users of us are leveraging that. So please send an email to sales and we can send you the link. Of course, the journal entries that we generate for accounts receivable, for example, you can just post them directly from our financial platform into QuickBooks. I know that's done. So send an email to sales and they will give you the necessary information. Then there's a question from Erin Ritchie. Are you able to enter in an expense if you only have an essential license, or do you have to have an enterprise or professional license? No, you can enter time and expenses, Erin. So you can enter time and expenses with an essential license. So you don't have to have professional or enterprise license. Then there is a question from Wout Arninghoff. Is there an automated connection with, example, the Rabobank that will import automatically bank statements like Exact or online on the roadmap? Yes, Wout, that is on the roadmap. So at this moment you can import your Rabobank statement, but there will be a connection with Dutch banks, because I know that's something that we do in the Netherlands. So that's definitely on the roadmap, Wout. Thank you for your question. Mohamed also asked a lot of questions, but I will not answer them because he has other resources to go to after a moment. Then there's another question of Dominique Stadel. Is there still a PSA server license required? Yeah, the PSA server license is only required when you go for on-premise, Dominique. So for on-premise, that's still the case. At this moment, we don't have the price points for the new license structure for on-prem, because 85% of our license sell is at this moment SaaS, software as a service. But if you go for on-premise, you still need the server license, Dominique. That's still the case. But maybe we're going to change it. I'm not sure yet, Dominique. Thank you for your question. Then there is a question from Erin Ritchie. Starting in July, you will receive enterprise license as a part of the PSA agreement, or still just professional licenses? And that's a very good question, Erin. But you will receive, starting in July, I need to discuss it with my team, but I would think you will receive enterprise licenses. So if you are a partner, you will just receive the highest license that we have. So you can do everything, Erin. And hopefully you're going to use financials then. That would be great. And then there's another question from Dave Fora. Can we get mapping between CRM user licenses and PSA licenses? Yeah, basically, that's Dave. That's not really something we can map, because from a CRM perspective, the reason that we have the same naming, basic of essentials, basic and professional, is because you can then mirror those licenses more or less. But there are cases that you need a professional CRM license and maybe only in essentials of PSA, because you only want to do time entry in PSA. So that's really something you need to tailor between the two solutions, and it's case by case different, Dave. So hopefully that's an answer to your question. Then there is another question from Wout Arninghoff. Another question is if it's possible to select bank payments which we have to pay automatically and then automatically upload them to the bank. At this moment, not, Wout, but definitely that will be on the roadmap. Then another question from Wout. When we receive a digital invoice in PDF and send them to our financial software, the invoice is automatically then in our system, and we only need to approve the invoice. Is that also possible? It's something we're talking about third parties who are doing that for us. So that will not be a part of PSA, but it will be a part of a third party. So I definitely think, Wout, you need to be an early adopter for financials. So so if you fill in the survey, then you can be a part of our early adopter program with all those great ideas. Thanks. Then there is a question from Debbie O'Connor. If expense claim is switching to HTML5, can we keep our old form? We've customized the form. Yes, you can keep your old form. Because the expense claim functionality is really that Silverlight functionality, and that has nothing to do with your form. So I don't see any issue on your expense claim form, Debbie. So I don't think that will break it at all. Then we have a question from Jim Cron. Is there still going to be a price for the foundation software outside the per user? Yeah, that's the same question as Dominique, Jim. So there will be a server license if you talk about on-premise, but if you talk about SaaS, software as a service, then there is only a per month per user price, Jim. And by the way, if you have a server, you can always our SaaS pricing doesn't have to go on CRM Online. Eh? You can also use our SaaS pricing on an on-premise server. So hopefully that's an answer to your question. Then we have another question from Erin. And if I sign a partner agreement before July, do I not receive enterprise licenses? No. You will also, if you sign the agreement before July, you will receive the enterprise licenses. We will provide to partners always the highest license type. So it doesn't matter when you sign, Erin. So, but it would be nice if you sign before July, of course. Thank you, Erin, for your question. There is a question from Dave Fora. What previous are there for outsourced vendors time entry? What is that question? If there are people doing time and need to do time entry in PSA, you need at least to have an essential license. If they're outside or inside, it doesn't matter to us. So you need to spend at least $15 per month for that outside vendor. So that's if they do time entry in your system. So that's how it works, Dave. So depending on the number of seats you need for subcontractors or outside vendors that need to do time entry in your solution, there are special discount programs, but it starts really from 500 seats or so. Then there is a question from Cindy. Will on-prem work with the SaaS PSA with CRM? Yes, absolutely, Cindy. It's a good question. So you can have a CRM on-prem on your own server, but it still have a software as a service license of PSA. It doesn't matter. It happens a lot, actually. So the SaaS pricing per user per month is available for CRM Online, private cloud, or on your own server. Then there is a question from Frank from France. Is it possible to mix the different types of licenses for the same customer? Absolutely, Frank. So, so if you have a customer with 40 people, you can have maybe 20 essentials and 20 professional or whatever mix you want. So you can mix along, Frank. And then I have the last question at this moment from Menso Bomhoff. And I need to translate it for everybody. If I only want to use Assistance Financials, which license do I need then? We don't know yet, Menso. So we need to set up a price for financials. So at this moment, we don't know yet. So that license, that price is not available at this moment, but it will be very compatible, very competitive to any other solution. So it will be between $10 and $30 per user. So Menso, that is maybe an answer to your question. Now I still see that we are with 60 people. If there is anything else that you want to leave us, or a question or a comment, please do it now. And for now, I want to thank everybody. If there are no questions anymore, I want to close this webinar and thank you all for your attendees, and have a great day, morning or evening. Thank you so much. Bye.